What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about this Black Boar Rear ATV Lounger and storage box. We're also going to talk about these foot pegs I've installed right alongside of it. If you're considering upgrading your ATV into a 2-up, stick around. This video might just be helpful for you. Today we're going to talk about my Black Boar Rear Lounger. I currently have it mounted on my 2018 Sportsman 450 HO. Ordered it off of Amazon. I'll put a link to the product in the description below. Came with this manual here. Gives you the instructions to put it together. And it also came with this hardware, the U-bolts, which you can see I am not using. I will put a link in the description to the Black Boar video where they show you how to install it on a four-wheeler that has normal metal racks. The Sportsman from Polaris, for some awesome reason, they put a plastic rack on there, stock. And if you have this plastic rack, all you can really mount to are these little holes here inside of the plastic rack. You don't have all the bars you need to mount the Black Boar with the hardware that comes with it. And you actually need to get a little bit creative, and I'll show you a little bit of that, how I installed it here in a minute. It's pretty comfortable. It's got a nice thick padded back seat and a nice good padded backrest. I've ridden in the back of it. My wife rides in the back of it quite a bit, and we both think it's comfortable. It has these little divots here so you can kind of rest your arms down in here, and it has these hand grips down here so you can kind of rest your shoulders, let your arms rest, grab onto the handles here. They put a little hole in the bottom there so the water will actually drain out of it, which is great. It comes with these really thick bungee cords that actually hold the lid down. So there it is open. To hold the lid down, you actually need to pull these bungee cords down to get it attached. Now, you might notice that mine has zip ties on this side. Basically, last time I was out running it, hopped back here to get my jacket out, and the little strap, this job right here, just ripped right off. And as you can see, it's just a little piece of fabric that has just one line of stitching, and this one looks like it's on its way off. So right there, that's something that I wasn't very impressed with. I've only had it a few weeks, and I'm already ripping the handle strap off, but easy enough to fix. I'm going to do something more permanent, but this was kind of my trail fix here. I'll demonstrate the little lock here, even though everybody knows how a lock works. You slim it up, it's locked. You drop it down, it's not. It's really quite simple. All there is just a little metal catcher there, and it's just this dinky little toggle that slides up and down. Close this back down. Pretty quick and easy for how sturdy. I mean, if these bungee cords ever break, I'm probably going to be a little mad trying to figure out what I'm going to do to fix that. Besides the straps, once you get it open, it's actually pretty spacious. That folds all the way forward, and you have a little upper cubby here, and you have the lower cubby section that goes all the way through to the other side. This cubby section, you can't fit a helmet, but you could fit, you know, some personal items in here, maybe your cell phone, keys, jacket, gloves, toe straps, that sort of thing. Now, you might notice that I have these little anchors in here. These are what I actually use to mount it. These are Husky toggle anchors, and I'm going to put a link in the description below to these so you can find them. Basically, all these are is this anchor on the other side of it. It has this little toggle anchor that you can close, drop through the little hole that I showed you over here. You can close it, drop it through this hole, and then it opens up on the other side, and then you can bolt to that. What I did to actually get it mounted, to figure out where I'm going to drill my holes and put in my toggles, what I had to do was I had to, of course this was completely off. I set this upside down so we could look at the bottom of it. And then I actually, someone might think of a better way to do this, but I just took off the entire plastic rack, and I laid the rack right on top of the bottom of this, so I could get exactly where I want to drill my holes, and just marked it out. Then I put my rack back on, drilled my holes that I marked, and then I just put the little anchor toggles, the stud side of them, down inside of the rack. And the biggest trick of it was setting this whole thing on, all those little anchor studs, and then coming in and screwing on the toggles up top. I put some pretty thick washers under mine too, just to have a little bit extra surface area for it to grab onto. Because these toggles, they just have a lip that's not a solid piece on the bottom. The standard bolts that came with these toggles were about 2 inches too long. And so what I had to do was take my wheel grinder and just chop a couple inches off those bolts. I think I chopped 1 or 2 inches, and then they were able to fit smoothly. The other guy that did it, he ran into the same problem, but what he said he did was just stack up a bunch of washers to fill the space. Now you can see that it's a little wet. I was just spraying off my ATV and I did get a little water in here, but if you look closely, you can see there's dust in here. So, I mean, it seals, but it's just plastic on plastic. Dust is still getting in there, you know, probably water finds its way in there, but I haven't had any issues. Everything I put in here has stayed dried and pretty clean, but you know, it's not totally sealed. I don't think anything's dust proof out on the trail. Kink those back down. If you just get the rear lounger, it's great, it's comfortable. They say it's not for two up, but let's be honest, we're all using it for two up. Great to sit on, but your legs are still dangling. I wanted to get something that was gonna solve that problem, but not be in the way. This is what I ended up landing on. These little units right here, and I'm gonna put a link in the description to these. These are awesome. It's just solid metal. It bolted right on. Probably took me about 10 minutes to do both of them. They fold out. I adjusted it to where my wife would be comfortable as far as how high I put it up. But really all you do is drill 2 pilot holes, put it where you want it, and then you put these carriage bolts through it, tighten it up, that's it. On the back side, it does have a metal plate to mount to. So you're just bolting through, hitting up with this metal plate and sucking it down. My particular quad had these plastic rivets kind of going through it, so I couldn't get a perfectly flat spot. So I ended up bolting the metal plate over 2 of those evenly, so it's sitting sucked in evenly. I put a little washer in between to fill the space. But that's about the sturdiest I could get it where I wanted it. And I put this on once. I haven't had to mess with it. This thing is super sturdy. I can put all my weight on it. Doesn't seem to be a problem. So I really love the fact that when no one's on the back, I can just fold that up and it's right out of my way. Got the same setup on this side. Fold her down. Same thing in the back there, just mounted with this 2 carriage bolts and a metal plate. This was pretty quick and easy. I'm really happy with it. Since I put it on, it hasn't come loose. The plastic hasn't cracked. I think as long as you're real good about getting the plate and the plastic on there, getting it tight enough but not over tightening it, I think that's key to not damaging your plastic. But yeah, between this Black Boar Rear Lounger, as they call it, and those metal steps there, this has actually become quite a comfortable 2-up machine. To get a 2-up Polaris, basically to get the 570 that's designed for 2 people, it's about $3,500 more. So I went with $300 more. We do the same thing we would have done with that one. My wife doesn't want to always go out, so I figured it'd probably mostly be me riding it anyways. So I didn't want to spend the extra few grand just to get a 2-up, especially when you can get a rear lounger set up like this and it's quite comfortable. Well, that's all, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead, leave me a comment. If I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I probably just ignore you, but hey, that's how it goes.